Hello everyone, Satorn here, showcasing a mod that I think is very good, one outliner to rule them all. It helps increase your outliner. If you're not using it, the outliner itself, then this one makes it even better. This is by Luke Zolti, so let's get into it. First things first, let's look at the vanilla version. So we go to the outliner here. What you can do if you haven't used this before is you can click the stars here and it'll show on the right hand side some information. So for example, you do interest groups, you can do your commanders, you can do your market as well as states. We'll go through it real quick. The interest groups, you can see here the clout that they have as well as the buffs and debuffs that they're giving you and who's in the government real quick, but not a lot of information outside of that. You could also see your generals here, if they're attacking or defending and how many battalions they have. Same for your admirals. Then your market, which is pretty useful, is that you can see the first three here are the ones that are in most demand, so the top three that you need, and the other three are the ones that have way too much, so huge supply. So this sometimes is useful as well. And then for all your states, you can see here all your population. Not much information here, so you're going to see what the mod brings. All right, so the mod is now installed, and you can see some differences here. Underneath the interest groups, now you have the portraits. You can actually click on the leaders of each of your interest groups, which I find very, very useful. You can also hover over the industrialist intelligentsia, and it'll kind of give you your breakdowns and everything that you need here for your population, as well as, loyalty. And you can actually now see the approval and loyalty and everything over here with numerically, which I think is great. Everything else is the same here, and you have your clout, but this just gives just a little bit of extra information, so you have to not click around as much. You can just hover over, which I think is great. The same thing for the generals here. Now you can hover over your generals and you can see it's highlighting which areas they are, where they're fighting in. You can also, click on them as well, and you can see all their character traits, which again, very, very good. You can also see what their rank is, which I think sometimes is a little bit useful, but also here, seeing which headquarters are coming from, I think is a big help as well. So again, that's when you're hovering over it, it's kind of telling you where they're from. Same thing with admirals, all the same stuff there. I think that's, again, still just super useful. Now, markets, this is a big one. Rather than now just getting the top three and bottom three, you're actually getting the top four and bottom four, where you have, too much or too little. But also what you got is actually numerically how much, and you can hover over it. You can see where you are, market price, and who's consuming it. It's just so good. This will save you a ton of clicks for sure. If this is like the only one you enable in your outliner, I think it's definitely worth it. And even just being able to see the money, I think sometimes helps too. So yeah, I'd say this is a huge, huge buff from the mod. I really like it, and even more, probably, I would say close to, if not as useful as the market changes, is the states. Right before it was the states and you just had the population and that was it. This is huge. Being able to see the infrastructure balance of an area is massive. A lot of times, as you get bigger, you're trying to figure out, okay, well, where do I need more infrastructure? This one glance, you can see in red, -9, -34. So these need more infrastructure. This is great. Super useful. Also, the next one is taxation capacity. I mean, not as useful, but it's still very good to be able to see it in one view. Then you also got your population here. Then you have your unemployment in the next column, as well as your amount of peasants that you have left. So population, unemployment, peasants, it's all right here. It's really, really good. And then again, like I said, it's just having not to have to click around so much, I think is great. So this spotlight was one outliner to rule them all by Luke Zolti. I think is very good for Vicky 3. Again, I'd like to see these changes done by Paradox. Maybe they'll do some updates as well to their UI, because it's definitely sorely needed. If you want me to do more of this type of content, please let me know. Put it down in the comments below. Hit that like, subscribe, and notification button. I'll put a link to the mod down in the description below as well. And as always,
For the swarm.